This is the first tutorial for digital bodies at the College of Architecture and Design at Lawrence Technological University. We are going to be using Gravity Sketch, and this assumes this might be one of your first times opening the software. So I'm going to go step by step and lead you through and get you to the point of a general understanding of the interface and a couple of the tools. And then there'll be a follow-up tutorial to talk about specifically the first assignment. So for now, what I'm going to do is go through my process of launching. And what we'll do is we will start, hopefully you've installed things the same way that I have, that you have both the Oculus and Gravity Sketch software links on your desktop. If not, I would start by launching Oculus. And as we do that, you'll be able to see my screen and not what's in my headset until we begin Gravity Sketch. And so what we want to do is to first, by opening Oculus, make sure that our headset and our two handheld controllers are all recognized. So sometimes this takes picking up the controller, just kind of waking it up, sometimes just pressing one of the buttons with your thumb on the top. So now I can see that both the headset and the hand controllers have turned green. I'll minimize Oculus, and I'm going to launch Gravity Sketch. You might need to download an update to the software. I'm going to choose New Default. And you won't see what I see yet until I get in the software. I'm going to smooth the camera and then resume. So as I put my headset on, now you can see what's in my Gravity Sketch. As I put my headset on, I see that there's a display related to Oculus that says critical error. This is just because our laptops don't meet the minimum requirements, but it's not a problem with Gravity Sketch. So just using your right trigger finger, say okay to that. And you should then see an open, empty space for Gravity Sketch. What I want to do is just explain a couple of the simple things that we see on the handheld controllers. So first of all, your left controller, one, we can see the time. If you use your thumb on the top portion, the blue button on the top portion with your left thumb, if you click that, this will open a number of settings and ways to save your files, as well as ways to take screenshots. And we'll talk about that in the second tutorial. If you click with your left thumb, the purple button, this gives you access to the different tools that we have in terms of building geometry within Gravity Sketch. For our first project, we'll be using Stroke. You can play with any of these as we go up until then. And let's do this. And with your right controller, you can see as you use the pointer, as it gets close with your right controller, if you use your right trigger finger over Stroke, that will select it. And so basically with these, ink will draw a line that's controlled by kind of speed. You can see it getting thicker and thinner. Stroke will just be a consistent type of curve. And then the others start to get into other types of surfaces, primitive volumes, surfaces, revolves, and then some other primitive shapes. We'll deal more with these in follow-up tutorials. So for now, we want to work with Stroke, and I just want you to begin to get familiar with what you see and what you see with your controllers. Your tools will be accessed with your left hand. The way that you draw is with your right hand, and this is assuming that you're right-handed. I think you can swap these if you're left-handed. At the tip, you can see the gray ball. The gray ball that is getting larger and smaller now, I'm controlling the size of it with the thumb joystick. By going left and right, I can make that sphere bigger or smaller. And so as I hold down my right trigger finger as I draw, we can see the difference of the size of the thing that I'm drawing. So I want to make that a little bit smaller. And I'm, again, drawing with the stroke and holding down my trigger finger. And as I release, it stops the tool. So I can draw multiple lines. I can keep the button held down, and I can continue to draw a continuous curve. Now we can do a couple things with this. We can navigate within the space. We're going to do this mainly by using our left controller and the button that we see right here using our middle finger. And so as we hold that down, what we're actually doing is we're navigating, we're moving ourselves in relationship to the geometry. It's hard to tell exactly that because there's not a lot of other references in the space, but if we hold down, if we want to zoom in or zoom out, we can hold down first our left middle finger button, and then we can use our right middle finger button and either pull out or pinch in as a way, and we can do this kind of over and over to zoom out or to continue to zoom in. And what's happening now is that the geometry isn't changing. It's just we are changing in relationship to the geometry. So we're navigating around to begin to understand, or navigating around the geometry. Now, if we want to manipulate the geometry, we use our right controller. We see the sphere that's by my right middle finger. As I click on that, as that intersects geometry, the geometry turns red. So if we do this and hold the right middle finger down, we can move this geometry. And now the geometry is moving in relationship to the other geometry. So we're actually manipulating the geometry using our right controller, and we can navigate using our left controller. If we want to undo something, we can see the red thumb button on our right. That's a little red button that's to go back. And as we select an object and then hold down our right middle finger, we can see that that same red button turns into a do not enter sign. That's delete. So we can delete objects that way. If you want to make, and I can undo that, if I want to make my selection larger or smaller, I can use my right thumb button and to go forward or back. And so if I want to have a small selection area, or I can make this very large, and I can have a large selection area. So I can select all of these objects at once, or I can make that smaller and be very careful about what I'm selecting using that. So with those couple of tools now, you have a bit of understanding about and we'll get into more of these details later about how we save, what we do with that, where to access from your left thumb with the purple button, basic tools, and then using your right controller, basic ways to begin to draw. And we'll talk more about drawing techniques, and we'll talk more about these issues as we go forward. But for now, this is a very brief tutorial that just helps you understand all of the different ways that you can access the different tools given your hand controllers when you're in the space of Gravity Sketch. So with that, I'm going to conclude this tutorial. Let me know if anything is not clear, if you have any questions. And what you typically do is you take your headset off and then you hit escape, and that will give you an option to exit Gravity Sketch. So I hope this helps, and Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.